I don't know what this man is doing. Honestly, it's absolutely disastrous. And the thing is, the reason why I wanted to make this Elon segment is because I really have like a theory now. I have a theory about Elon as a whole. So I'm sure you guys have seen the Elon show with Chappelle. So in case you haven't seen it, we're going to watch this again. Elon Musk appeared at a Dave Chappelle show. Now, Dave Chappelle has changed in recent years. He used to be a really, really funny comedian, okay? And I'm sure he's still funny. I'm not saying suddenly he's not funny anymore, but he used to do the Chappelle show, which is just a fucking hilarious show. I love the Chappelle show. It's just a masterpiece of comedy, okay? He's probably still one of the best and funniest stand-up comedians that are out there. He's a stand-up comedian that even I can watch, and I hate stand-up comedy, okay? But in recent years, he snuck these anti-trans elements into his show. They're not even jokes. Like, if you look at the stuff that he says about trans people, it's not even packaged in like a funny moment. It is just like, well, you know, those trans people, I don't like those trans. It's just dumb, okay? It's just dumb things that basically just say, I don't like trans people. Okay. Congratulations, brother. You don't like trans people. So Elon appeared at his show. And you would think that with Elon's recent Twitter trend, right, and with his way of treating Twitter and expanding Twitter into like just sucking over loads of people from Truth Social, right, bringing them over because apparently Twelon really likes, you know, having right-wing people on his platform and now defending right-wing opinions and all that. And we're going to get to that later in this segment, okay? But you would think that there's like a solid overlap between the audience that Elon has and that like Elon and that think, Elon is great, man. He's freedom of speech on Twitter, man. I can finally insult people and then their homes get like threatened by right-wingers. They turn up at their homes with guns. This is amazing. This is freedom of speech. And you obviously, that goes kind of on hand in hand with all the people who are anti-trans and Dave Chappelle. Like, there's an overlap between those audiences, you would think. Well, this is what happened when Elon Musk came out at the latest Dave Chappelle show.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the richest man in the world.
Dude, I'm cringing so hard watching this because obviously Chappelle thought this would go really well. Chappelle wouldn't bring someone out where he thinks, oh, people are gonna boo and hate the guy. Elon thought this would go really well. Okay, Elon thought, well, you know, Chappelle stands for transphobia at this point. I stand for right-wing hate with my take on Twitter. This should be awesome. Now he comes out and literally almost everyone boos, you know. It's pretty clear that it's like 90% boos of people not liking him. But the problem is, now he's out. Now he's on the stage. So he can't be like, oh, people boo, I turn around and go. Now he kind of has to expose himself, at least for some time, to the f***ing cringe, okay? So here we go.
Cheers and boos, I see. Elon.
Hey, Dave.
Controversy, buddy.
Weren't expecting this, were you?
You weren't expecting this, were you? He says to Chappelle. Yes, I'm sure Chappelle was not expecting this.
It sounds like some of them people you fired are in the audience.
Right, so Chappelle tries to turn it into a joke, right? Some of the people he fired are in the audience. Cringe, bro. Hard cringe, man.
Hey, wait a minute. Those of you booing.
By the way, this was the end of the show, okay? Like, not the beginning or anything. So the whole Chappelle show was already over. He did his whole set. People are there for him. Presumably people enjoyed it. And then after the show, as kind of a little goodie, he brought out Elon, just for context.
Tough road ahead, it sounds like. But you notice one thing? All those people are booing. And I'm just pointing out the obvious. You have terrible seats, and I understand. It's all coming from way up there, nigga, the last minute Now I'm playing the niggas boo.
Yeah, he's like, oh, everyone who boos, those are the people on the cheap seats, right? It must be because you're a billionaire and you're very wealthy and all that. That's why they boo. It's like, no, dude, that's not why people are booing. And also, like, to kind of downplay your own audience and be like, oh, you know, the people who are booing are on the cheap seats, like, f off, Chappelle, bro. Honestly. Okay, not everyone is wealthy enough to probably pay like $190 for a Chappelle show ticket. Some people may want to see a Chappelle show at like $70 or $100, which is still ridiculous. I don't know the prices, I'm just guessing. But it's like for him to then diminish his own fans and to say, you know what, these morons that sit on the cheap seats, those are the ones who are booing. That's like a whole separate issue where he's like classifying his audience, right? And he's like, oh, these guys are losers. They can't even afford the expensive seats in front. Like, bruh, man. I mean, the previous joke he made about like, oh, these are the people you fired. Okay, I get it. It's a joke, you know, it's humorous and all that. It's not a good joke, but it's a joke. But like, oh, the people on the cheap seats, bruh, I don't know, man. That's just a fucking dumb move.
Boo.
And at this point, Elon is just standing there, right? He's just with his microphone. He hasn't said a single word. People are like, and now the audience calms down a little bit. They're like, what does he have to say, I guess? But like, yeah, it's not a good place. I guess like whatever he says at this point will not go down well. That's how it feels.
Listen. Whatever. Look, motherfucker. This nigga is not even trying to die on Earth.
Anyway, to be honest with you, that was basically it. And then after that, there is like one scene that I wanted to share with you guys, which is this one. And the title of the cringe says it all as well. If I cringe any harder, I think I might actually injure myself. Like, that's really how it feels. Like, because it was already so cringy. But check this out. You think it can't get any cringier than that? That happened shortly after the scene we've just seen. With his I love Twitter shirt. Look at that shit. So there was one scene after that where, and sorry, I can't find it now, and I don't want to dig forever and search for it. It's dumb. But he goes to Chappelle, Elon Musk, and he's like, "What do you want me to say, Dave?" It was the cringiest thing I have ever seen. And like, what the fuck does he even say here? Okay, let's listen to this again. I'm right, bitch. I'm right, bitch. Okay, and there's a beautiful tweet, I think, that I've bookmarked somewhere. I hope I bookmarked it somewhere. Steven Crowder's show tweeted about the video of Elon Musk on stage with Dave Chappelle, confidently captioning it as how Musk only read 3 words for his haters, or only had 3 words for his haters. Yet none of Crowder's fans can seem to agree on what Musk even said. Okay. So Elon Musk has just 3 words for people booing him at Chappelle's show. So even louder with Crowder.com, the most moronic show on the internet, can't specifically say that, like, that's what he said. So people start to speculate, right? People like, I heard, I'm lit, bitch. Let's listen to it again. I'm lit, bitch! What does he say? I don't know. We have other people speculating. What did he even say? I'm Rick, bitch. As in Rick James. What did he even say? I'm rich, bitch, which obviously is the Chappelle line, and I think that's what he said, but sounded like I'm ready, bitch. He said, I'm right, bitch. So all those right-wing conservatives are like, yeah, he's right. What did he say? I don't really know, but something about bitch, bro. It was pretty epic how he owned the lips with that, man. That was pretty cool, man. Let's listen to it one more time. Oh, bro, bitch. To be honest with you, I think at this point in the show, Elon was already so embarrassed and like it's just awkward, man. If you come out to a show of, I don't know how many people are there, a few thousand or whatever, and they all boo at you, it just diminishes your self-confidence instantly, right? So it's understandable that he's not like, hey, bros, you know, I'm super confident. And then you stumble through a sentence and you kind of mess it up. And he wanted to be cool. He wanted to say something cool, which he didn't manage to do. So that happened, okay? That was super cringy. Let's see what you guys have to say to this before I move into the next Elon part, because this continues, okay? This is just one element of the bigger Elon story. You know something isn't bothering you when it's been festering in your mind all day and come back 8 hours with a brand new story to explain why thousands of people were booing you. So someone tweeted, so does a crowd full of boos, okay? Replying to Elon. And then Elon said, which is like, the fact that he even replies to this just shows how it touches him, how it gets close to him. That he can't be like, bruv, I don't care. You know, I'm the second richest man in the world. I own Twitter. I do whatever the hell I want. I'm Elon Musk. He's like, no. He has to reply. So he says, technically, it was 90% cheers and 10% boos, except for during the quiet periods. But still, that's a lot of boos, which is a first for me in real life, very frequent on Twitter though. It's almost as if I've offended San Francisco's unhinged leftists, but nah. Oh, he's making it so much worse. It is so cringe, dude. Then he tweeted, a major fight broke out in the audience just as I was about to talk. So I didn't get to say much. Yeah, these are all really good reasons, right? That's what it was. It's like about 90% cheering and 10% booing, and those 10%, that was also because that fight broke out in the audience and I didn't get to say much. So, I mean, look, the one thing that it definitely can't be is that people hate me. That's not an option. Okay, it can't be that. And then also Elon tweeted, and this is like, I think also after this Chappelle show thing, he tweeted this, okay? And just reading it, man, I feel like just reading it, it kills like a million of my brain cells, but I'm gonna do it. The woke mind virus is either defeated or nothing else matters. Okay? The woke mind virus. Where do you start with this shit? You know, where do you start? When I read this, and actually then I stumbled across another tweet by Noel Casler Comedy. I don't know who that is, but apparently like a comedian, stand-up comedian. And he said the following: Elon Musk strikes me as the type that knows deep down nobody has ever really loved him or ever will. And I think there is some truth to that. I think that comes back to some of the things you guys said as well. No money in the world, like Alan Welch said earlier, Brett, like no money in the world can hide how much of a loser you are. And Elon's daddy never loved him and should look into how much an awful person he was, which you think he needs this sensation of applause, right? Like Thomas Burda said earlier. I think that's what it is, man. Elon is like a 12-year-old child on a schoolyard that wants to be loved, but he's really cringy. He was very successful in like certain areas. Like, let's just do the parallel to school. He's very good at math. He's very good at like physics and geometry, and at certain things in school, he gets like top grades. He's the best in the last 15 years in that school. He's like hammering home every single test that they put forward in those fields. But when it comes to respect from other kids, they just still ridicule him. They still like take his backpack and stuff it in a rubbish bin, and they still throw him down the slide like, Elon, you idiot, face first down, landing with his face in a puddle. And he wants nothing more than be loved by those kids, man. All he wants is people to respect him, to say, you know what, Elon is a great guy, Elon makes a difference, Elon is a respectable person. But nobody does that. And that's also why he went on the Chappelle's thing on stage. Because he thinks it lends him credibility, right? He thinks he goes there and people afterwards are going to say, oh man, Elon, he's a great guy. He was so funny. He made a Chappelle's, blah, blah, blah. Now the opposite is the case. Now this thing that he gets on Twitter, where he said himself he gets hated frequently on Twitter by loads of people, now it starts to seep over into reality, and not with a hardcore leftist audience where he'd be like, well, I expected this dumb mind virus lefties. No, but with Dave Chappelle's audience, who are already probably right-leaning at this point, and accepting of trans jokes. So I hope that there's a little bit of a moment of awakening for Elon now, where he's like, hold on a second. I mean, judging from the tweets we just read, right, where he's like, well, just a fight broke out and it's like 90% cheering, actually. It's like, that shows me he didn't learn a single thing. It was obviously not. I mean, does he know there's video of it? Everyone has seen it, dude. It's not 90% cheering. At this point, it's clear that Elon really has this deep desire inside of him just to be loved, man. And I don't know whether it is like what Thomas Buddha said earlier, whether it's a daddy issue, that because his daddy never really loved him, that actually, as ridiculous as that sounds, but that can be a reason. Like from a psychological point of view, if your father never showed you love and you're kind of trying your whole life to gain that love from your father, that can trigger things like that, where your whole life is going to become a struggle for acknowledgement because your parents or your father never gave you that acknowledgement. I don't know if it's that. I have no idea. I've never looked into the history of or the relationship between Elon and his father. But I think what is pretty clear is that Elon is definitely fighting for acknowledgement and for being a kid on the schoolyard where others say, he's a cool kid, man. He's cool. Elon is a cool guy. But the opposite is happening. The other day he tweeted this thing where he was like, well, my pronouns are prosecute and Fauci. Like now he's literally calling out for people to go out and do something to Fauci. It's so messed up at this point. I give you another example, okay? Check this out. Twitter's former head of trust and safety has fled his home due to an escalation in threats resulting from Elon Musk's campaign in criticizing against him, a person familiar with the matter told CNN. So this dude used to be the head of trust and safety at Twitter, okay, in the past. That was his job. So he was, responsible for managing Twitter, making sure there's no toxicity, making sure that people don't do exactly that, right? That there's no messages on Twitter where people then afterwards say, you know what, we're going to go to Fauci's home, kick in his door because he needs to be punished, okay? And where tweets suddenly bleed over into the real world and suddenly people feel the need to actually do real world harm to actual people, okay? That's used to be his job. So he's been let go by Elon. Obviously, he's like, well, what are you talking about? Trust and safety. I don't care about that. Monitoring Twitter and checking whether it's kind of safe. I don't care about that. And then he kept tweeting about it and kind of diminishing the person. So he's been running this subtle, more or less subtle, hate campaign about the guy, right? Saying, oh, he's the guy who was responsible for what Twitter used to be. And Twitter used to be this hardcore leftist platform where all the right-wingers get banned, which is nonsense. It's just nonsense, okay? It could not be further from the truth. I spoke about it in the past, but Twitter in the past has given so many right-wingers who would have deserved a ban a platform, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who just 3 days ago said in a speech, well, if me and Steve Bannon would have run the insurrection, obviously she didn't use that word, but if we would have run the insurrection, we would have won. That's what Marjorie Taylor Greene says. We would have won. What does that mean? What does it mean to win the insurrection? That means you successfully overthrow the government that day and potentially get hold of some of those cabinet members, right? People who are sitting and cast their vote in the Capitol. She also said we would have won because it would have been an armed attack. We would have marched in there with guns. Okay? That's what these people say. These people are terrorists. And these are the people who support Elon now. Every tweet that Elon sends, whether it's like, oh, we have to prosecute Fauci, the first person replying is like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm with you. I'm totally with you, bro. We got to prosecute. And Tim Pool. Oh, that's totally right, man. And he's just accumulating these right-wing morons around him. And just to your comment, by the way, Charlie Walker, all due respect, nothing personal. You say Fauci should be prosecuted, to be honest. I know people are like, well, he lied to Congress and all that, so he should be. Just like, no, dude, he was a health official. There's the same shit going on in Germany, okay? People in Germany are the same. They're like, well, Lauterbach, who is the German Fauci, the German health minister, he should be prosecuted, and you get these heavy hang Mike Pence vibes, where they're like, well, actually, to be honest with you, not only should he be prosecuted, why don't we execute him publicly? Because he was used to force to wear a mask. Dude, he's a health official working for the government. He did the best he could. This guy didn't have any secret insights into what this virus is gonna do. He did the best of his abilities. at the time. And that included wearing masks because it makes freaking sense. Sure, he also was aware like what economic damage these lockdowns would do to any country, whether it's the UK or Germany or the United States, all right? And sure, if he lied to Congress or whatever, we can talk about it. But this generalization, this, oh, we need to prosecute these officials, that shit is fascism. That is like, this guy did something we didn't like, this guy did something we don't agree with, so he should be prosecuted for that. He should be, that's the same as people now calling for Biden being impeached. You go to these right-wing conservatives, you're like, what should he be impeached for? Hunter Biden's laptop or something, I don't know. It's like, no, dude, you're a f***ing moron. You want to impeach someone, you want to remove a person from your political equation because he doesn't fit your narrative. He doesn't fit your picture. That's why you want to remove that person. You don't like him, you don't like his decisions, you don't like his approach. That's why you want to, not because there's an actual reason, not that there's actually a circumstance that would allow to impeach him, but instead because you don't like that person. That's called fascism, okay? People on Twitter, like Alex Jones, he got removed because he agitated people to do horrible things to the parents of the children who got killed at the Sandy Hook massacre. He acted in a way that had horrible effects on the real world and still has today. These parents still get harassed. It's not worse enough that their children got shot in the face, that their heads exploded because, like, they got hit with an AR-15. No. Also, the parents have to endure that bullshit because someone like Alex Jones thinks it's all right to agitate these people to go there, and he's like, I'm innocent, I didn't pick up a gun. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. You're the one who puts that word out there with the reach, with that size. You're agitating those people. And they go to those parents and harass them till today because you agitate them. That's why you're banned. Trump gets banned because he agitated people to overthrow a government. This is the 101 of fascism. Do you understand that? To go into the Capitol and claim some shitty election, even every single court and person that was appointed to the court, every judge that Trump even appointed, they gave him the case, trying to find some evidence. Every single judge was like, no, there's nothing there. This election wasn't fraud. Every single case points towards the opposite, yet he has to maintain the lie and agitate people on that using his 86 million followers on Twitter to storm the Capitol. And then he sends one tweet where he's like, but please do it peacefully. Come on, man. He's been heating these people up for years with thousands of tweets. These people are radicalized to here. One tweet that says, oh, please do it peacefully is not gonna stop those fucking Proud Boys morons. What do you think? Like, that's the dumbest excuse to be like, well, he sent one tweet to say, please go down peacefully. Shut the fuck up, man. It just gets me so angry, man, because these people are like swallowing up those retarded lies, man, and they are so obviously lies. And then there's like the radical left, the red. Shut the fuck up, man. It's so dumb and moronic. And now you get like that because Elon has this hate campaign running for months, you know, where he hates against the previous head of trust and safety at Twitter. It's his job. It's his job. Okay, he works at Twitter and people come to him and say, well, that's the threshold. That's what we can't have. This is the rule. These are the T's and C's of Twitter. Please follow those. And he does. So he follows the T's and C's of Twitter. And now people turn up at his home, threatening him. He has to leave his home because people are threatening this person. And you don't threaten if someone comes up and says, I'm going to punch your head in like some idiot one guy, and you call the cops and they transport him off. Think about how bad it has to get until you actually leave your home. This shit is bizarre, man. This shit is from a different planet. So I'm at the point where I have no mercy anymore. I have no understanding anymore for this kind of shit. Elon is completely out of line. The shit Elon says, I mean, honestly, his inability to comprehend social norms may be caused by a developmental issue, but he does have Asperger's, so that might be an issue. An army of yes men thirsting after his daughter probably doesn't help either. Exactly. And I forgot to mention that. That's a really good point, Jet. Like, this guy is so deep in his echo chamber, he never has someone around him who challenges him and who says, Elon, this is insane. There was this tweet from Grimes. I read it on the last stream where she was like, bro, like, that's not you. Honestly, dude, you gotta calm down, switch your phone off. You know, don't stand for this kind of hate. So I guess in the past, like Grimes was still a person, because, you know, she's got his children, was still a person that keeps him a little bit under control and calms him down every now and then and works kind of as like a beacon of sanity. But now everyone's removed and he's just off, man. He's just completely off.